Hey everybody, Tonval Legend 826 here. I'm giving my personal thoughts about the 17th episode of the 4th season of Riverdale, Chapter 74, Wicked Little Town. Now, as we all know, Riverdale every season does these musical episodes. They'll always have like a musical going on with Kevin as the director. Giving Kevin one of the few times in which he actually has like more glory, a little bit slightly than the core four. I mean, make no mistake, I enjoy scenes with the core four. Archie, Betty, Veronica, and Jughead and Cheryl because the core most of the attention of Riverdale of the show is ends up going to either the core four or Cheryl, which in some ways is a good thing, but other ways it's not because we see characters like Tony, like Reggie that aren't being used all that often. Like Reggie had a storyline like in the second episode of the 4th season with his dad abusing him. But other than that, that was pretty much it. We really didn't see all that much of Reggie other than as this like in scenes and conversation. Never really saw him get his own storyline. Of course, we saw Reggie and Kevin getting into tension with Mr. Honey and Reggie's car being destroyed, but other than that, we really didn't see all that much of Reggie. And meanwhile, Tony, we know nothing about her backstory. I think the writers are going to give Tony a backstory this season, if they're able to. I think they might. I'm not sure. I'd like to see Tony have her own backstory because we see mostly Tony with Cheryl, which is a good thing because, more Shoney scenes for the Shoney fans. But I mean, at the same time, we need to know more about these people as individuals rather than just their couple names, and the people they're with on screen. We need to know more about these people, their own personal lives, their backstories, what happened to them before all this went down and everything. What happened to them before all this. I think we should at least know about that. But that's just my personal opinion about that. And also, speaking of the episode, I thought it was a good episode. I thought, even though these musical episodes are kind of cringy, because you see all these characters singing, all of a sudden they're doing something, it's kind of cringeworthy, like the High School Musical series from the 2000s with Zac Efron being revamped into this TV show. But it's even more weirder than like this one was kind of weirder than the other two because the other two was just this. It was just the students singing in the second season, except for Alice, but that was pretty much it. And then the third season we had like musical, but then the farm got involved. And then this season, you notice that Hiram was also singing a little bit as well. That's what's even more creepier. That Hiram was singing with Hermione and Veronica when they were all sitting watching the news about like this person who was videotaping all the houses. Now, I don't know who it is, but if I had to give a guess, I'd say Mr. Honey is the one taping the houses. I mean, after all, he looks rather suspicious, doesn't he? I mean, he's been nothing but but someone whom we dislike, honestly, because we've seen Mr. Honey on screen. Make no mistake, I think Kurt Smith is an incredible actor because I've enjoyed his acting on Final Destination 1. I think he was also in My Bloody Valentine, as a police officer. I saw both films and I enjoyed his performances in both of them. But I'm not hating on the actor though, and it doesn't make sense to hate the actor because of what the character is doing. If you have hatred towards the actor because of the character, number one, that's messed up. But you also admit that if you feel that way, you have to give credit to the actor because of their incredible performances in the film or TV show. But as I was saying, Mr. Honey might be the one sent like delivering these tapes. It's possible it could be Mr. Honey. I might have thought it would have been one of the Stonewall students, but Brett was already exposed, so therefore it can't be one of the Stonewall people. So it's probably Mr. Honey if I had to guess. Although I can't really say for sure if it's not Mr. Honey. I really hope it's not Charles Smith because I don't think they're making Charles Smith a villain. But I really hope it's not him. But I mean, you never know at this point. Riverdale is full of crazy people. You can't trust anybody. I mean, Fred was like the only innocent person, but obviously Fred is gone now. But anyways, like I said before, it was kind of weird to see all these see Hiram singing, but all of them are literally singing like when these tapes showed up to their homes, like videotaping their houses. For some reason, they're showing the houses, which I don't understand the point of it, anyways. Like I don't know how the Riverdale world works, but I know in this world, you can look up any house you want to on Google Maps. Okay, they will show every house in every city, in every state, in every block in the United States of America. If you don't believe me, you can go online right now and find a house, whatever it is, you can look it up on Google Maps, and you can see the house, you can see updated versions of the house on Google Maps as well. So I don't see the point of showing them just the house. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You're just showing the house of what's the big deal? Anybody can walk up to the house and see it. Big deal. Unless it symbolizes something like maybe someone is watching them, maybe someone is planning something against the town. Not bad enough with serial killers and Gargoyle King like games running around and like running around rampant, murdering people for no reason. But this is pretty interesting if I had to say it. It might be probably something worthwhile. But anyways, they're all singing. They're all like because of the play that Kevin is hosting, the variety show. Then Kevin wanted to do this like musical called Hedwig, but Mr. Honey would not allow it. So Kevin defies his orders, and then Mr. Honey like removes him from the show. Now Kevin, of course, deserves better. He's been on the show for 4 seasons, and they've literally done almost nothing with his character, like giving him any storylines. The only storylines we really see Kevin getting are minor ones, like him running through the forest or trying to find gay people, or the one about tickle porn. Like out of all the storylines they could have came up with, tickle porn is the best they can come up with. Tickle porn, really? I mean, I know Riverdale has some bad writing. I enjoy the show personally, but I mean they really need to do better than that, honestly, for Kevin. But if this is the most screen time they've given Kevin, pretty much. Like, they've given him screen time, but they don't give him any screen time with him being at the center of attention, This is one of the rare times which we see that happening with these musical episodes. And that, of course, is interesting to see. Kevin deserving better. Kevin standing up for what he believes is right. Kevin taking control, and this variety show taking place. And even though Mr. Honey canceled the show because of them performing Hedwig and everything, like acting defiance, they still decided to perform the variety show anyways at Pops, to find another place to do it. If they couldn't do it in the school, Mr. Honey can't complain if it's off campus, right? But of course, Mr. Honey will always stoop to everything because he called the police in the second episode of the 4th season with Cheryl hosting her party. Mr. Honey called the cops to make sure that because they were being a huge racket and everything, according to him, allegedly. But I mean, anyways, back to the episode. So Hiram is conditioned. We already know the Hiram is probably dying because of the condition that's making him sicker and sicker, And he was in the gym, and then Archie saw him he was like holding one of the weights, and it was like falling on him. And then Archie tried to explain to Hiram, try to help Hiram, but Hiram told him to mind his own business, to stay out of it. So Archie keeps his mouth shut because after what Hiram did to Archie in the 3rd season, with the whole framing him for murder, Archie being on the run, being the Gargoyle King's target, the Red Paladin, after all Hiram did to Archie, it would make sense for Archie to stay out of Hiram's way because he knows how dangerous Hiram can be. Hiram can say what you want to hear and say things to you that you want to hear, things that you want to see. He'll do all that, but of course, there's always the manipulative side. He'll always do that only if only things are going his way. Once things are out of character for him, he'll eventually turn nasty, and you'll see the unpleasant side of Hiram. So of course, this is nothing new, of course. Of course, Veronica, when she finds out, she's really upset that Archie didn't tell her about this, or that they didn't drag Hiram to the hospital. They just let him come to the gym. Archie, of course, kept his mouth shut because he didn't think it was any of his business, of course. But Veronica's upset, and then Archie and Veronica have a fight, and then Betty and Jughead are also having a fight because Jughead was trying to Betty wanted Jughead to catch up with all of his schoolwork, and then Jughead was busy spying on the houses to see who was mysteries, because Betty told him no mysteries until you get to catch up with all your subjects and prove that you're going to graduate. But Jughead was busy looking at the camera to see who was spying on them and everything. So, I mean, I can blame him for being intrigued. Can't really say I blame him for doing all that. I would probably do the same thing myself. I was so interested in seeing who is spying on all of us and why do they want to stalk us for no reason. The town of Riverdale really is not a place you'd want to send your kids there, honestly. Maybe Fred Andrews would enjoy Riverdale, but I doubt anybody else is going to be that loyal to the town. The town filled with murderers and serial killers and all that. But anyways, back to my point is that they were all singing. They all saw the tapes. It's really disgusting stuff. And even in Pops, they're watching the person whoever is doing this apparently. So during the musical, then Archie decides to sign up everybody else because the band the Archies. If you've read the Archie comics, you know who the Archies are. Some musical band that Archie Andrews started. The Archies. That's the name of the band that they play that they're having. Reggie was in the band too, but they didn't have him in the band of the TV show because Reggie's not a member of the Core Four. He barely gets any screen time. Well, he gets screen time, doesn't get enough plots as the Core Four. But anyways, they're all performing at the variety show at Pops, and then we see Mr. Honey there, of course, always stooping through everything. So yeah. So overall, it was a pretty good episode, even though it was a musical episode, cringeworthy, but still enjoyable. Oh, but one thing I forgot to mention, Archie and Betty. I get that Barchie, people ship Barchie, that's totally fine, but you realize that Veronica and Archie went through so much in season 3, not to mention Bughead went through all of this. If both couples went through all this only for Betty and Archie to kiss, then what's the point? Why have them go through all this? They're just gonna like kiss and cheat on each other's partners, respective partners anyway. Like honestly, don't mess up the show like that. You know, of course, the writers can do whatever they want with the show. It's their choice, their show, but I really don't approve of the way they're doing things here. But anyways, Betty and Archie kissed, which sets up the promo for the next episode. Betty and Archie in the bed together. I think maybe they're like showing a child episode, like because I saw pictures of the stills, of younger Betty and younger Archie. So it could be like I really hope they don't make Betty and Archie Endgame. I really hope they don't because I don't really ship them that much. But if people want to ship them, that's totally fine. That's your opinion. But anyways, I thought it was a good episode overall. But yeah, that's my opinion. Tonville Legend 826 out.